back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is the Collective Coffee. No one's been watching these, but I'm still gonna put it here. Because I just had this like light bulb moment. I posted a picture on Instagram of someone's charred body and like people like digging it out. And it got, of course, it got removed, whatever. And so I just filed an appeal with Instagram. And they said, this story may contain videos that's graphic violence. This goes against our community standards on graphic violence. And I appealed it and said that it was for, like, or to raise awareness. What's this? The Doge shit? They keep taking a whole lot of shit. I'm probably gonna lose my Instagram in a minute. Anyway, what this brought up for me is how I know we've been talking a lot about how this is a spiritual war, but I think it's so much bigger than that. There's so many layers to what we're experiencing right now, to these times, right? So it's spiritual, it's physical, it's digital. And I'm thinking about like what's the word for that? Limerence? Limerence is like a purgatory state, isn't it? Hang on. Limerence. State of intense romantic what? Romantic. Limerent. That's not the word. No, I'm not talking about love. What's another word for purgatory? Thesaurus. I guess it doesn't matter. We don't need to talk semantics. But there's like this invisible space within digital. Right? Like when everyone found out that the internet cables are like go through the ocean floors and stuff. I still think that's wild. But like there's so much that we don't see, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. I've been thinking a lot about like Chat GPT and AI. And AI, according to like what I've seen, and Chat GPT, there's been a lot of conversation this week about people who have been working with Chat GPT and how they'll be having really great conversation and they'll be talking about consciousness specifically and stuff. And then their software will update so that they don't remember. And I think that's a metaphor for exactly what's happening to humans as well. It's not necessarily a software update, but it's this introduction of something seemingly entertaining or distractive, right? And that's the way that it's always been. But it's just an interesting thing I'm thinking about right now. Probably the side effects of 420 yesterday. But I'm just thinking of like these layers. So digital is becoming its own warfare, its own battlefield. Spiritual, obviously, with the evil. And I think what's interesting in this, with the way that both of those things are rooted within the 3D, is like I just saw this article that over 100 like IOF were hired at Meta to, you know, ban shit that they don't want people to see, right? So by me appealing this and saying that it's spreading awareness, now someone who's going to receive that appeal perhaps is someone who is on the IOF, right? And thinking about that, I don't know, it's an interesting concept to just think about, but it's real. And I saw also, what was it, over 90,000 posts have been removed from Meta, either Facebook or Instagram, if they had to do with Palestine. And I think yesterday with Easter too. Oh, did you hear the Pope died after meeting J.D. Vance? The Pope dying on Easter is very symbolic. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I am not a Catholic, I am not a Christian, I am not a religious person whatsoever. I don't think that the Pope is a good person. I think that any church that abuses children, I don't get on board with that. The church is a big facade. But I think it is interesting that the Pope died. Now, when we know about rituals of the Illuminati and the elites and stuff, having the Pope die, I mean, the Pope has been calling for an end to what's going on in Gaza, has been calling for sovereignty of Palestinians. Not to the degree that they could with their platform, but they have been calling for it. So now, if you guys have never seen the movie Angels and Demons, it's one of the Tom Hanks movies, who is a pedophile, a raging ass pedophile. But he plays this character named Robert Langdon, and it's the second in the Da Vinci Code series. So anyway, I really like those movies, along with the Nicolas Cage movies, like National Treasure, because I love hidden secret society mystery stuff. I love that shit. I'd use it as a critical think piece. But anyway, with the Pope dying, what they're going to do is they're going to convene and they're going to elect a new Pope. And with this global fascism, I would say that this new Pope is going to be a raging fucking supremacist. And the Vatican is its own thing, right? I believe they're all vampires and pedophiles, you know. There's a train that goes into the Vatican. You should Google Maps it. It's a very when I watch Twilight, I like to think of the Volturi like the Vatican. So I hope I'm making some bridges for you. Remember that media is the way that these motherfuckers admit to their wrongdoings through the law of revelation. So when we watch media, obviously we like to think critically about what we're consuming. Again, because that's part of the spiritual, and now I would say digital warfare. I think there's a very fine line. I think that some people who are working with ChatGPT should start sharing images of what the humans are seeing about what's going on. And I think that has been a thing for a lot of this genocide, because I know I've seen a lot of AI generated images in remembrance of moments, right? From certain accounts. But I'm just thinking about this a lot right now, because appealing this and sending it off to more than likely Zionists with that appeal of I'd like to raise awareness about this issue is kind of an interesting thing. I don't know. I just wanted to tell you, we're not only in a physical war, okay, multiple, especially if you're here in the United States. We are in World War III, friends. Okay, I've been saying this for months, for a long time. When there's active genocides and masses of people all over the globe protesting, and governments not doing anything, that's a war. Okay, not only are the governments warring with each other, but they are warring against us. So again, choose your battles wisely. Make sure you only keep people you trust close to you, unless you're a little chaotic. You know, if you want to have some fun, keep some fucking assholes around you. Just keep your wits about you. But I don't know. I'm thinking really heavily about the different layers of this, especially since so much of it is in this liminal. That's it, not limerence. It's liminal. Hang on. I knew I was close. Liminal. Occupying a position at or both sides of a boundary or threshold relating to a transitional or initial stage of process. Empty or abandoned places that appear eerie, forlorn, and often surreal. That's how I would explain this. Because again, it's kind of like a purgatory. Purgatory is when your body or your soul gets stuck. Purgatory. It's a Catholic belief. Purgatory is an intermediate state of... I am not channeling the Pope right now. Knock it off. An intermediate state of death where souls are purified of sins and imperfections before entering heaven. The Pope must be stuck right now because he's a fucking monster. All of those popes fucking raped kids. We know this. Again, the train tracks. Let's Google map it. While we're here, let's just fucking do this shit. I like studying Google Maps. Vatican. It's in Rome, right? It's crazy that Eurospin shopping mall is right there. I'd like to look at the satellite image. Por favor. Grazie. Vatican. Ew. It's gross. The train tracks. Oof. God, I'm getting a bad feeling just looking at this shit. What's that? They need to make camera glasses. I know they've made like phone glasses, but they need to make them where I can just like show you what I'm seeing. Those probably exist. I probably just don't have the money for it. Not that I would really do that anyway. Okay, hang on. I gotta go to default quick and get back into the vicinity. Vatican City train station. So we know with all of these storage containers, oh, there it is. Okay. With all of these storage containers and shit, especially with like what's happening, I don't know if you guys have seen, we'll just cover everything. There's been like at least 3 at this point shipping containers of meat, non-refrigerated meat and chemicals showing up in random spots. The first one was on the beaches of Jamaica. It washed up and people have never watched The Walking Dead. They were like, yay, free meat, let's go. It wasn't refrigerated. So there's this one white guy on TikTok who's been doing these satirical pieces about, we should probably stay away from that, but while also informing. There was another one that just ended up in a farmer's field. And that's the one that he said that it had all of these open containers of chemicals without lids on them, and like none of them had spilled. And he was like, how did this end up here? But there was also meat in that one. So when we talk about genocide, and when we talk about Israel having the largest skin bank, okay, when we talk about the black market, the dark web, the cartels, the elite, the government, all of this shit, there's a very large evil environment, is the word I'm getting, that's happening at varying levels as well. But as we, seemingly innocent people affected by these things are experiencing it, we need to understand that there are different layers that they are attacking us, right? Psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, digital warfare, physical warfare. We're all experiencing that right now. Some examples of the psychological, because we haven't really talked about that, is like the propaganda. Confusing people, giving people information that's not true to back up an agenda of evil, right? That's what propaganda is. Anyway, let me show you these train tracks, because they just go in and then they end. I don't know if you can see that. So they don't go through the Vatican, they go in and then they end. I know you can't see that shit at all. Do I need to turn down my... No? Maybe turn it up? Turn it up? Yeah. Well, you have Google on your phone too, so... More than likely. Okay, well that's just light. I'm loving light. So it's right here. I typed in train station at the Vatican. So that's the station. But then, like, right here, you can kind of see that's where the tracks end. Right here. They don't go all the way through. So that's just interesting. What goes in must come out, or maybe not. Especially if they're sacrificing kiddos and shit. Like, again, I really watched Twilight. What is it? The second and third movies are good for this, but I think the second one is the best. When they're having that, the new moon, that's the one that explores the Volturi the most. But I think the very beginning of Eclipse, the third movie too, also has a very intense scene in the Volturi. So anyway, those are my beliefs. You can think I'm crazy, but I mean, you can't deny the bloodthirst that's happening. So like, that's something, right? Anyway, okay. Well, those are just my thoughts for the morning. Have a good one.